Really?
Yeah. Can she please?
Hi, thank you so much for joining us live or catching us the replay. I'm Ariel Vaughan, Millennial Coach and Client Supervisor with MSBCoach, and today I have Stasia Rice and Patty Marbury to talk about confidence. So you all just go ahead and introduce yourself to start.
Okay. Stasia said I had to go first. So
I did. You were picked.
So my name's Patty Marbury, and thank you for having us today. So I was just talking about that I've been at UVA for 18 years and just realized that this week is my 18th anniversary. Actually, 2 days ago I've been there for 18 years. And so I started there as an instructional designer, and then after a few years became a training manager responsible for a team of trainers who really did training around the administrative systems at UVA. And then eventually, I stayed in that role for quite some time, and then 3 years ago moved over to UVA Finance, and now I'm leading a team of trainers who we do the same things as far as training within the systems and things like that, but we're focused mainly on training and program development for finance and business professionals at UVA, including those within our unit called UVA Finance. And then as part of that, I have been doing a lot of leadership development, including we have a manager development program. And so I, along the way, a few years ago, went through the MSB coaching clinic and became certified with MSB Coach. And Michelle asked me to be a coach with MSB Coach, and so I've been doing that as well. But then was able to take some of that, those skills that I've been developing, which we'll be talking about as we talk about confidence today, and use them in my role at UVA now. And so I'm doing a lot of coaching with our managers in UVA Finance, as well as a few outside of our group, and developing training and leading a team of trainers. Awesome. So that's my journey so far. But that's where I am, and that's who I am. So thank you for having us today.
Yeah, great, thank you.
And I'm Stasia Rice, and I'd say I had a pretty windy path, maybe not so much one place for 18 years, but I started my career in management consulting. So I worked very early on in sort of a very technical role and was an internal consultant. And then as time went on, I started to work for large companies like IBM and Deloitte in the Northern Virginia area, working for the government and doing, big projects, and had a lot to do with change management and human capital management. And so that kind of sparked this sort of ongoing, or it probably fed an ongoing love of the study of human beings and how we react in situations and why we do. And I've always been one of those self-aware, overly analytical people. And so it very much fit when I was ready to sort of I will take a detour in a career path. I found MSB Coach and was starting to work in a more intimate consulting relationship rather than big firm and big client, sort of a more intimate relationship, which is great, as well as becoming leadership coach, which just fit in with who I am, what I love to do, and kind of the role that I took in most of my engagements. So, and as time goes on, you find that there's lots of ways to utilize your, what I like to call is my, toolkit, and a lot of transferable skills. So I've always actually had a passion for house and home, and so I've actually translated that into and using a lot of these same skills as a real estate agent, which has been a big new change for me and invigorating and fun. And so leading people and projects and transactions in a much different way day to day, as well as continuing to coach and train and doing keeping my foot in all of this good stuff, because that's just who I am.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. I think it's just very interesting how all of the coaches here at MSB Coach have different experiences that help you as a coach, because you can pull from your toolkit and help share it with others and share your experiences. So today we're going to be talking about confidence. I'm really excited to hear with your different backgrounds and perspectives what you all have to say about it. So to start off, how would you all describe confidence?
When I think of that word, I've always thought of the cool, calm, collected, right? So this sort of level of And you may be bubbling underneath a little bit, but your exterior has that level of, you know what you're talking about. But there's this balance that we think about, especially, I think sometimes as women, confidence can often be misinterpreted in maybe negative ways. And even with men, too, I think there's this aspect of overconfidence or... having sort of zero hubris and this idea that you think you know everything. And so I think there's this aspect, I believe, in confidence that you acknowledge you don't know everything. Mm-hmm. And I think the people who are most confident can say, I'm not the smartest in the room, and that's okay. Yeah. Who else is around me? So that's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah, it's like you're confident in the knowledge you do have, but also confident in the knowledge you don't have to.
Exactly. And it's okay. Yeah. You don't have to be, know everything to everyone, and you don't have to know everything in order to be confident.
Yeah. It's just really a feeling. I mean, it's really that simple. It's a feeling of, or a belief in your abilities to do something, or your, lack of feeling or belief that you can do something. So it goes both ways. And so I agree. It's really important to acknowledge, and it's not a lack of confidence necessarily to acknowledge that you need to gain skills in an area, but it is really just that belief that you could do something.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think it's interesting too. Technical competency or technical proficiency can sometimes be, you can make you feel more confident. But I have seen people who are amazingly technically proficient but don't come across as confident. So it's a different, it's, the one does not equal the other.
Definitely.
Right. Yeah. You can be confident in different areas,
and you can be really confident and know nothing. But you could be confident in your ability to learn and your ability to pick things up and to be able to figure it out. And I think, there's value in all of those things. So
yeah,
definitely.
Right. And to your point that you just made about confidence goes with the task or the undertaking that you're doing. So, it's, as you said, you can be confident in one area and not in another. You can be confident in public speaking, but not in managing. And so it's just like that, it's a feeling. It's your abilities to do something.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Well, you all are both very confident in my perspective. Have you always felt confident, or what has your journey with confidence been?
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody's born confident. And so for me, the journey really is about each step in your career, each position you take, or just starting out, you're not going to feel as confident as you are later. Mm-hmm. But even now, when I'm asked to do new things, like a Facebook Live post, it's you don't have that confidence. Mm-hmm. And so whenever you make a change, whether it's a new job, a new role within your job, or I'm sure Stasia didn't start out as a real estate agent feeling like super confident. You kind of, maybe you did, I don't know. but you, and we'll talk about it later maybe, but it's sometimes showing confidence may be different than actually being confident. Sure. And so, which I think is important. But for me, it's whenever I do something new, whether as I said, a new position or a new role within that position or a new task within that position, even just small things. You just have to learn to build your confidence over time and doing those things and getting better at them.
Yeah, so I'd agree with that. I mean, I feel like I've ebbed and flowed. I remember being 20-something and feeling very confident and probably overconfident in my abilities to learn, adapt, and sort of handle anything. But I think life has a great way of just sort of kicking you in the teeth every now and again, and helping you to adjust. And so I probably lean a little bit more, and I wouldn't say fake it till you make it, but there's this aspect of, I learned at some point that along the way, being authentically who I am kind of in any situation helps me to feel more confident, because it's just that sort of grounding. So I don't ever have to pretend. People know what you're getting with me. And so I'm never trying to remember, oh wait, am I the one who knows how to do that in this situation or not. And so,
Right.
you know, and that's even more so than just being honest, but just, you know, sort of being authentically who I am just helps me to ground myself in any situation, and just remembering that I can learn and adapt, and, you know, I'm not going to be laughed out of a room if I say, hey, I'm going to need a little extra, you know, in order to do the right thing here. And so, yeah, I think over time, but yeah, when you're put into a new situation, or even just something that just makes you, from a personality standpoint, a little uncomfortable, your confidence may wax and wane depending on how you're in there. Yeah. Yeah. Although I will say, you know, as a mom, I've noticed that I have, you know, 3 boys spaced out, you know, a little bit of time, and I noticed their personalities are so very different. And I did think at one point that you could always learn confidence, and I'm learning that some, like my little one, is born with it. Like, he just is.
Yeah.
He is confident in himself. The other 2, maybe not so much. So I think there probably is a nurture versus nature thing.
Sure.
You know, there's a little bit of just, some people are more naturally, you know, good to go. Definitely learned.
And that's the thing, that it is good that, you know, some people seem like they are just naturally born with it, but that confidence can be learned, and that you can develop your confidence. And I know for myself, like, I always pictured someone confident, like, you know, someone that owns the room and, like, can talk to anyone and just has this presence about them. And, you know, for a while, like, I never thought of myself as being, like, the confident one, but, you know, I just kind of learned, like, in certain situations, it's just, like you said, being your authentic self and being okay with that. Like, I think being confident really comes to being self-aware and, you know, understanding yourself and the situations you're in too. So what would you all say, like, helps with building confidence?
You want me to go? Go.
Yeah.
So I think I wrote a blog article, and I think some of those things those points that I made in there are things that may help build confidence. One of them is establish small goals. Think about what it is that maybe you need to grow your confidence around, and set some smaller achievable goals that you can, you know, kind of check off the list and get done and feel good about. Small wins, early wins, and then doing that helps build your confidence over time. And then part of that too is practicing whatever it is you need to. And when I'm talking about confidence here, I'm talking about confidence in a specific task or undertaking, whatever it is.
It's sort of a technical proficiency aspect.
Not more of the big C confidence of, you know, how you come across to people when you walk in a room. Because I guarantee you, even somebody like your son who is born, you know, you think is born with confidence and it kind of exudes that, there will be times that they are not confident about something. You know,
Absolutely.
so it's just that
comes more easily to some.
Right.
Yes, but not always.
And showing it may come more easily. But no matter what it is, to become confident at what you do, and be able to say, yes, I believe in my abilities to do that, which if that's what you go by as the definition of confidence, then practicing. Getting every opportunity to do what it is. So if you're not confident at public speaking, then, and you need to be or want to be, then do it. Do it as much as you can, because you're never going to gain the confidence if you don't practice.
Absolutely.
What would you add to that?
I would say, I remember from like a slightly 35,000 foot view, but, you know, sort of thinking about what your strengths are generally speaking, maybe not specific to one thing, but I think that sometimes we like to focus on things we're not good at. And I don't know that spurs a lot of confidence, you know? And so I think, you know, in my time, I've really thought about, okay, what are the things that I bring to the table and how can I utilize them, you know, day to day? There are always going to be things I can be working on, and there's always going to be things I need to be working on. However, I think focusing on strengths, developing those strengths such that you can maybe parlay them in a way that maybe overcomes something that you're not feeling as confident about, or even just gives you the confidence to try new things and do things that don't feel right or feel comfortable, you know, that are sometimes going to be there. And, you know, and then you kind of talked a little bit about, you know, walking into the room and how you feel about it. And I do think that confidence is an external thing as well, right? There is this aspect of, taking the time to, look nice or feel confident in however you look, and so it may be, for some people, putting on the nice clothes or doing your hair and doing those things, or it might be not doing those things because it doesn't feel natural. But whatever it is that gives you the sense of authenticity and the way that you want to show up in the world, I think you're going to, anytime you're going against that, it's just going to come out. It's just, people are going to know you're not fitting, like you're not in the same lane as your internal self wants to be.
It's just, I think it's a matter of feeling good and right about you, who you are in the situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're being genuine and you're not coming across like cocky or fake, and
not putting on a mask for people and then somehow not able to live up to that in some way or fashion. And there's lots of different ways to put on those kinds of masks. It's not just your external appearance in some ways too.
But then in the blog post I talked about the nonverbals too.
Oh yeah.
So believing in yourself, but kind of exuding that belief in yourself by paying attention to, as you said, how you look, how you come across, how you appear. But also just engaging with other people, how you engage with people, looking in
eye contact,
using assertive tone, using assertive body language, just paying attention to that, I think is really important.
I agree too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you did a great job on the blog post, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It's on MSBCoach.com, and I'll put a link in the comments later so you can check it out.
Yeah, it's nice to have real practical things.
And so just kind of moving on towards confidence with leadership, how has confidence impact, or how has a leader's lack of confidence or confidence impacted you or others? Can you guys think of any times?
Yeah, it's an interesting. I thought about that a little bit before we came in, and I've experienced confidence in sort of good ways, where it's all good, but sometimes we don't learn from those as much. And so there's two scenarios where I've learned that either a lack of confidence or overconfidence, and I think it's, so let me talk a little bit about that. I think sometimes when someone's overconfident or they're actually not confident. I think there's this lack of feeling good about yourself and feeling, sort of comfortable and confident, like we talked about at the beginning, to say, I don't know everything. So sometimes I've experienced a lack of confidence as a overconfident, cocky, sort of not open to new ideas, not really, welcoming any other answer to a problem. And I think sometimes that's I have over time realized I think maybe that was lack of confidence, possibly. And I've also experienced lack of confidence in a way where it was someone had a hard time making a decision or had a hard time giving direction, and that led to a lot of discord in teams and in ways that probably permeated throughout the whole project. So so that's how.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't really have anything to add to that, except for that I was just thinking about an experience I had recently where it was actually a person showing great confidence, but I was thinking about, as when you asked that question, it just occurred to me that this story is, can you imagine if this person had not had the confidence? And so my husband and I were on our way back from Florida a couple weeks ago, or week before last, and the flight had to divert from, right after leaving Florida, they had to divert to Savannah. We were in the air for an hour and almost an hour and a half before the pilot said that we had to make an emergency landing in Savannah. And basically one of the engines lost all its oil and they had to shut the engine. And, but what was interesting is his manner of delivering that news. And I was thinking about how, if you can imagine if he had said, all he said, he was very confident. I don't know how he was feeling inside.
Cool, calm, and collected.
Exactly. And
thank goodness.
Right. I mean, but just the fact that he exuded that confidence of, we will be diverting to Savannah, but we will land safely. and he said that several times. Our mission is to get you there safely. We will, we're going to land. We'll be landing in 20 minutes, and he talked all the way through. Nobody panicked.
Yeah.
People were laughing and talking and, and I thought about that when you just asked that question about, can a person's confidence, a leader, in this instance, a pilot was the leader, how can their confidence or lack thereof impact you? And can you imagine if there was no confidence, or at least if he couldn't share that, then if he had said, hopefully we'll land or something like that.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
So it's just a very real example.
Yeah.
And you can apply that to anything. A surgeon who, you hope they're confident, and you just want to make sure that, and what we're not talking about is like, we're not talking about life and death things. We're talking about a confident leader.
Right.
But it's just that paying attention to how you say things, how you do things, how you're coming across, how others are perceiving you, asking for feedback. I think leaders can I think, appear much more confident when they ask for feedback from others and ask for others' perspectives, as you were saying.
Agreed, yeah.
And and the leaders that I've had, and I've had some great bosses and great leaders of different teams I've had throughout my career, and some not so good ones, but all my UVA ones have been excellent. Just throughout my career, and those that are the most open to others' perspectives and other people's feedback and willing to make improvements and changes are the ones that I see as the most confident and have the greatest impact.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting when we were discussing this topic before we got on the Facebook Live. It's just that, we talk about confidence here in the context of leadership, but it really is an interesting conversation for anybody who's, to me, doesn't see themselves as a leader, right? Necessarily isn't leading people, but in any time throughout your life, there are opportunities to lead. I mean, even if it's just, on an airplane, or even just a trip, you're together as a group and, being able to get, everyone's opinions and move forward confidently in a direction. Like, there's ways that, this topic actually impacts everyone, and I think it's something that even if you see yourself as a leader, or want to be in a leadership position, a more, traditional description of that, it's something you can start early and often and practice feeling confident. And I think the more that you do those things, the more you will find it's easier as time goes on.
Definitely. Yeah. And kind of adding on to that, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to build their confidence?
Well, a lot of things Patty was saying earlier really struck a chord with me. Mm-hmm. I thought, sometimes it is to face the fear, to face the thing that you don't want to do. But I think to the extent to which that self-awareness and self-discovery of, what are your values? What are the things that you have strengths in? And how can you use those in this world for good, for, and to feel good about yourself? Because let's face it feels good when you're doing things great, So the more you do that, the more confident you feel. And so I would say, as a coach, that's a lot of what I like to focus on is, what are your strengths? What are your values? How can we get those things in alignment so that authentically you show up feeling good because you're doing the things you're good at, and then ask for help when you need it.
I'm a big believer in focusing on the strengths, and not only what you're good at, but also what gives you energy and what gives you the drive to go to work every day, the drive to, get out of bed in the morning. It's like, what are those things that you love to do? What are those things that you maybe have some abilities at, but that you want to do more of? And focus on those things and find ways of incorporating those things into your life and into your work to the extent that you can. And so whatever that is, and however that takes, whatever path that takes. It might not be, after I got my coaching certification, I wasn't confident as a coach. I remember the very first time, Michelle will not like that I'm saying this probably, but I was nervous. I think I did a good job.
Yeah.
But I was really nervous. And my husband is a leadership coach as well. And he was like, everybody is the first time. You don't exactly know what to expect. And I don't think the person I was coaching realized, and I didn't share with them that it was my first time. But
it's got to be your first time at some point, right? In anything.
Right. In anything. And I don't feel like you ever go into that with super confident. And so I just don't think that would be, I can't imagine that that's natural, that you just be confident at something that you've never done before. And so going into that, I wasn't super confident, but I think did a good job and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. And so when at work in my regular, job, when I had the opportunity to do that more, I said, I think I might actually be good at this. And so let me see if I can find ways of incorporating that into my real job, and have been able to. And so that's what I mean. It's like, it may not be, it may not be your actual job, and I'm not suggesting that people go out and quit their jobs and become
hobbies and volunteer work or different things, different ways to experience something that's kind of in your wheelhouse. And it may not be at your job, and sometimes you don't have the capacity to change what it is you do day to day.
Right.
But especially for young leaders and people who are looking at, well, how do I build my confidence as a leader, and I don't have the opportunity to lead somebody? Well, there's lots of ways to lead people in this world. And so go find an organization that you can lead a group of people to do better, do good in the world, or, find an organization that, likes things you do and you can enjoy it, and build confidence in yourself that way too. Yeah. So lots of different ways to do that.
Yeah. Another thing I was going to say is, and you alluded to this a little bit, Stasia, when you were talking, is about surround yourself with people that, not just those people that make you feel like that are your cheerleaders and make you feel great about yourself, but surround yourself with people who build you up, who encourage you, and support you, not those that are your naysayers or who are negative, and just try to make sure that those are the people who you're seeking feedback from, those that you trust, but they can give you critical feedback. Not just those people that will say the things you want to hear, but those that will say, this is where I see you, needing to work on whatever it is.
And see your potential and push you towards new opportunities, things that you might not feel confident to do, but you say, you know what, I think you could, and why don't you try? And I'll support you. Or, the more people you can find like that in your corner. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And then that kind of goes on to helping someone else build their confidence. The more that you're like a cheerleader for someone, that helps them. I know for myself, whenever someone gives me good feedback or is, praises me for something I didn't realize I did, I know that helps with my confidence. So what other kind of advice would you give to, leaders who are trying to inspire confidence in their team or organization? How can they do that?
I think, again, being willing to admit that what they don't know, be willing to ask for feedback, be willing to improve or change on things that they need to do to be better. Those kinds of things, I think, help leaders in being able to build their own confidence and confidence in those around them.
Kind of just reiterating the idea of you don't have to be everything to everyone, and you don't have to know everything in order to be confident. So I think as leaders, creating environments in which people understand that about themselves, but also understand that about you as a leader is kind of important too, that they're not looking to you to be all the things, so that, they have the opportunity to step up and step in and, kind of do more. And I've been thinking a lot about the mindsets and that of abundance and scarcity. And so, and it kind of goes into confidence, because I feel like sometimes the negative aspects of being underconfident, like we discussed a little bit before, is it can show up as sort of this like, taking hold of things in a stranglehold, or you're not, you're competitive or critical. And sometimes, and that may be just your personality, but I think sometimes you're just not feeling really secure in yourself a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. And so if you can sort of foster within yourself and within your teams and organization an abundance mindset that you are enough, we're all enough, there's enough work, there's enough praise, there's enough all of that for everyone to go around, and not looking to like grab and pull and criticize and be critical. I think that can just go a long way to just creating a good vibe for everybody to build and grow and have the ability to have opportunities to build confidence, because you got to build it. It's not necessarily just going to be there, like we said. Sometimes a little more for others than but yeah. So I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about a little bit lately. But and as I do more, maybe I'll share. But yeah. But I think that can go a long way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Great. And as coaches, how do you see coaching as something that is that will help leaders develop their confidence?
One thing that we do as coaches is help people identify barriers or challenges and work with them on ways to overcome them. So if a leader is expressing that they're maybe less confident in a certain area, I would work with them to do some of these things that we've talked about.
Yeah, I think that along with identifying strengths and that type of thing, I think one of the biggest benefits of coaching is that you're taking time out for yourself for that self-reflection, and you're being held accountable ideally. I see myself as a partner in accountability as a coach. And so when we agree that you're going to go ahead and try that new thing that should make you feel more confident, I don't let you off the hook, right? So there's that. But also to, help you explore and sort of have that inward self-reflection, and can help to, manage yourself a little differently, and so that's kind of, I think the main goal is taking the time to do that. It's so easy just to get caught up day to day and say, I want to do better in something, but you're just putting out fires all day, know, and there's no way to really, and I think that's one of the biggest, most powerful things about coaching is that you're taking that time for yourself.
Right. Yeah. And as we were saying, setting goals. Yeah. And absolutely. Coaching helps a person set some achievable goals, and as you just said, you hold them accountable to them.
Right.
So
for better or for worse. May not like me, but
you're gonna help them. Well, you guys have already shared lots of great insight on confidence. As we wrap up, is there any final thoughts that you would like to share on confidence as a leader?
I think, one of the things I want to say is another little story that I'll share is my daughter is a soccer coach. She's in grad school in Florida, and she's coaching these little kids. She coaches several classes, but the youngest are 2. And we went and watched her coach the other day, and they have this mantra. And I said mantra, and my daughter Emily said, it's the rules. And one of their rules is believe in yourself. And I think that's so great, because that's the way to instill confidence, is just to remind yourself, and it should be your own mantra, I'm gonna take it. To believe in yourself. And I just think that even starting at a young age, from helping people instill that confidence, that to say you can do it, and to be encouraging, and to say, believe in yourself. And that's the thing I kind of took out from that was, wow, we're even teaching kids in this group at a really young age to have that confidence that they can do it. So
that's awesome. I love that.
No, absolutely. And I was going to kind of end with fake it till you make it sometimes, because, there are times in which you actually will feel more confident if you actually pretend a little bit, and you get yourself over that initial hump, with speaking or Facebook Live posts. And, after a while, you start to forget that you're caught up in not feeling confident, and you're just rocking who you are and what you do.
Right, yeah. And fake it till you make it is still kind of like that belief, like you're believing you can do it. So
Yes.
you're going to act like you can.
That gets you over the hump.
Yeah.
You know, and then, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me in this conversation for confidence. Thank you everyone for watching live or the replay. Please leave us some comments and let us know what you think. And if you want any information on how coaching can help you build your confidence as a leader, please email us at info@msbcoach.com and join us next time. Next month we're going to be doing critical thinking. So see you then.